Mm. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday. Even though Monday is almost over, still happy Monday. All right, only half of you are here so far. So while we're waiting for the other half to get here,
Good.
can you work on turning in some things that you might need to turn in? Also, if you already did that, I'm going to put this link in the chat. This is what I'm looking at right now. This is where we're going to start today. So all of these activities, getting you to look at, getting you to examine yourself, what you like, what you dislike, where you think your future interests may be. And now we're going to focus that on how we're going to get a job. All right. So hello, hello, hello. If it just came in, good afternoon. Happy Monday. All right. So again, we're waiting on quite a few people to join. So while we're doing that, most of you still have some things that you owe me. So work on that. If you already have that, wonderful. If you've already finished everything, then I just put a link in the chat. I'm going to put it again because there's some folks that came in after I put it up there. And I think the Zoom gets tired at the end of the day because I'll be clicking trying to let y'all in, and it's just keeps you waiting. All right, so I put this link. So this is because sometimes y'all seem to even though I have it highlighted, or like I said, your class is different from my other classes as far as how do you find stuff in the module. So this is activity 4 in the module, and I put the link in the chat so that you can get there. So I'm clicking on it. Let me see how you click on it. I will. I thought I did, but I'll check on it. All right. All right. So while I'm checking on that, you all read read this module. So again, we're going to be talking about a resume today, how to write a resume, and the fact that you need to start collecting. This is our first step. All right, so you all look at that, look at the link that and I'm going to put it in again, just in case somebody came in. So some of y'all are going to have this in your thing 3 times. Really, I thought that I did look at it and I thought that's the one that you couldn't find. Remember that you put it up there, it was blank. That's the one we were looking at. I don't know how you're going that didn't save. You redid it. Okay. Because the last time I looked, it was still the blank one. So I will look at it again. Okay. I will check it. All right. So I'm gonna stop sharing right now and you all look at Like we're still waiting for a couple of people, so give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes. You read this page, the link that I just sent you. We'll send it again. Everybody needs to be reading this page. And then we're going to talk about, so our next activity is to write a resume. Okay. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing so I can look at all these things people want me to look at. See, what y'all got to remember too is when I'm looking at it, then you all decide 2 days later you want to turn in what I've already looked at and then wonder why I haven't graded it. Aha. Okay. All right, I see it now. It's very blurry, but I do see that you did it. I got you. And I know that we talked about this, so there's no late penalty on this, so on yours, because we've talked about this last week, so I got you. Uh-huh. I see that. I see the ones that you have in your comments section. I see them. So you're good. You're good for that. All right. Yeah, Xavier, you got a lot of stuff for me to check. So it's going to take me more than a minute to check all of those.
Yes, that's 90% of my grade book.
Yeah, so it'll get done. I can't say how fast, but it's going to get done. And see, what your parents need to also see is the day that you submitted it. So when they say, "Oh, she didn't grade it," look at the date that you sent it and the date that it was due. So when they get upset about that, that's what they need to look at as well. Now, also remember, I opened a lot of folders so that you could submit them, but I changed the availability date. I did not change the due date. So when I grade them, they'll still say they were late. And depending on how late it is, I may have to go back and override a 0. But um, turning something in is better than turning nothing in. So a grade is better than a 0. All right, so I'm just looking at these while we're waiting for other folks to come in. Everybody should be looking at the link that I put in the chat for doing resumes, because that's what we're talking about today. So please read over that module while you're waiting. Or some of you could be working on the psychology of your future. There's quite a few who still owe that as well. All right. And folks, I'm going to keep going because some people are doing their work all the time and it is not fair to them to be sitting back waiting on you to catch up. And we do have to keep going forward. So don't let yourself fall behind. Okay. Also, you give a short answer to a question, you're going to get a short grade. You need to explain. Most of these questions that I put out there, you got to explain. Like some of you on your CTSO question from your high school. Explain why you picked that one. Why are you interested? Of all the ones that they have to offer, why did you pick that one? But some of you are just trying to give me short answers. And I'm going to give you a short grade if you give me a short answer. Some of you are so creative. You give me very, very detailed answers. All right, so when we get to resumes, you can't give me a short answer. You have to make sure that you touch all the bases. Ronell, I hope you saw what I said about your CTSO submission. You need to go back, revisit that, and submit a real answer to the question. Why won't it reassign? Hmm. All right, give it another 2 minutes, and then I'll be right back with you. All right. So, all right, so you sent in your local CTSO. I got that one checked. All right, the critical thinking one will take some time, so I'll do that another time. All right. And then I'm just going to introduce resumes and the activity, and then CTSO Ronell. You had an interesting answer, then that's not going to fly. So you need to actually come up with something. CTSO, local CTSO. right. And folks, again, we're trying to get you prepared for the next step. I know some of you probably are not yet thinking about career choices, but you should be. Because even when you go to high school, the classes that you have a choice of electives. There are some classes that are mandatory that you have to take. And there are some classes that you get to take. There are the CTSOs are things that you get to do on your own. So you need to know what they have. Um, and getting involved in extracurricular activities always looks good on your resume, which is the thing we're about to work on. When you're going to send your resume to a job, they want to know, yeah, they were a good student, but what else do they do with their life? What are they interested? What are their strong suits, kind of thing. So um, this is our next step to get you to think about who you are, what you like, what programs you want to get involved with. And right now, even if you don't want to get involved with it, you got to pick one anyway because it's for a grade. Okay. All right. So even you might change your mind. And that's what the last video was talking about, that sometimes you decide on a career choice and somewhere down the line you change your mind. And that's okay. Right now, we just need you to pick something because it's for a grade. Okay. Think about it that way. All right. Why can't you restart it? Yes, it won't let you resubmit right now. All right, let me see why that is. Oh, okay. Because again, it was the end date was Friday. So let me open that back up again. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to send it for resubmission and it wouldn't let me do that. All right. Okay. Try it now. All right, and I may have to do the same thing with let's see, what's critical thinking? Critical thinking is the 12th, so you need to get that in by the 12th, folks, because I'm not going to change that date. And then y'all got a couple of assignments to do. The 12th. All right, so I changed the CTSO. That's going to be due this Friday, even though you don't have school on Friday, it's due Friday. And the same thing. All right, so the other assignments are open, so I don't have to worry about those. Okay. Anything else that's not open, you're gonna have to see me in tutorial for that. And talk about why you haven't turned it in yet. All right. Okay, so I think give you another few minutes. I'll do attendance and then we'll talk about resumes. Right now, does it let you do it now? Okay, that was the problem. I like an easy fix. All right, so again, let me put this link in the chat again because some of you came in after the fact. Some of y'all are going to have this link in your chat like 5 times. All right, there it goes. All right, so for those of you who were not here at the very beginning, I put this link in the chat. That's the link for the topic we're going to look at today. So if you have finished all your other assignments, take a look at that. Hmm. All right, some of you are logged in and aren't doing a thing. I don't see you doing makeup work. I don't see you looking at the assignment I just sent out. And then you want me to read work that you've turned in 5 days late. Okay. No problem. I thought I let London in. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Take a break from what you're doing so that we can
Break!
look at the link that I sent you. Ready. So like I said, everything else has got you ready. All right, so we're going to look at doing a resume. Most jobs, not most, all jobs require that you submit a resume. Before they interview you, they want to know whether you're a good fit before they waste time talking to you. So you're going to have to create a document. Now, right now, it'll be simple. It's not going to be anything like the one that you'll compile when you graduate high school or even college, but it's going to be simple. And we're just going to use courses and activities instead of jobs, because that's what they really want you to list is what jobs have you done prior to applying for their company. Okay, so we're going to so when searching for a job, you need to take the time to create a resume based on your job search, having one with you. Sometimes when you go for the interview, you take the resume with you so that they can read it and get an idea of who you are. So this again, who you are should be expressed in your resume. Okay. All right, and if you highlight on here, when you scroll over this, it says it's a document that highlights you and all the work you've done so far on the pathway to be a fit for a job. Okay, so that's why we had you looking at careers that stood out to you, looking at what organizations you might be interested in so that you can start looking at who you are and what kind of job are you going to apply for. And that will determine how you write your resume. Okay, all right, we're going to watch a short video, real short. Sometimes when I leave it sitting too long, it does other things.
Let's start with a simple question. How many times have you heard the saying, you need a great resume to get a great job? Too many times, isn't it? In fact, it's true. According to research conducted by Ladders, an online job matching service for professionals, recruiters spend an average of 6 seconds reviewing a resume before they make the initial decision on the candidates. Can you believe it? Just an astonishing 6 seconds. This means that your resume has only 6 seconds before it is either shortlisted or tossed out. When considering such short time spans, it is highly essential to start with writing a great resume, the one that speaks of both your professional and personal merits and strengths. It is highly invaluable and rewarding to write a resume that stands out from the crowd and attracts the employer's attention. Hi, my name is Rocky and I am a full-stack software engineer by profession. With an experience of over 1.5 decades in the field of information technology, I have learned a lot about what clients look for and want in a potential candidate when they try to hire a new employee. In my past, I have attended many interviews as a fresher and also when I switched jobs. As I progressed in life and eventually worked my way up the corporate ladder, Now, as a team lead, I interview potential candidates and select the ones that fulfill the job requirement. I have personally learned a lot in this process, and I would like to share my experiences so that they benefit you. In this video course, I will explain the basics of a resume, what you should include, what you should exclude, and different ways to write your resume so that they highlight your best qualities and unique talent. Throughout the course, I will use practical examples for a better understanding. I will also demonstrate how to choose the right resume format, adapt your experiences to match the job requirements, and also provide you tips on how to customize your resume to include industry-specific information. I will also share tips on how to deal with the most intimidating areas, such as dealing with large unemployment gaps, lack of experience, job change, or job hopping. This course is practically designed to serve anyone from freshers to experienced job seekers alike, and once you get through the course, you will find yourself on the positive side of the rainbow. Not only this, but I also aim towards making this course as interesting as possible, so you have the benefit of absorbing as much information as possible in the least amount of time. So sit back, relax, and learn how to write powerful and attractive resume in this new, innovative, fun, and animated course, and get the dream job that you were always looking for. If this video was helpful, please show your support by leaving a like, comment, and share the video on social media. Subscribe to the channel and tap the bell icon to receive all future updates. Thanks for watching.
All right, before I show the next one in the series, what I want you to do, hold on. All right.
Oftentimes,
hold up on that for a second. All right. Let me come back over here. Where'd it go? All right. I left the page. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Have any of you ever heard of an elevator pitch? Have you ever done an elevator pitch? I got one person to say no. Anybody's ever heard of an elevator pitch? All right, well, you're about to hear about an elevator pitch. All right, an elevator pitch is so-called because imagine that you get on an elevator and you're going maybe say from the first floor to the 12th floor. And you meet somebody in the elevator and you have just the amount of time that you go from the first floor to the 12th floor to get this person to know who you are. So what I need for you to do, and I'm going to put this in the assignment box, and it's going to be called elevator pitch, is to create an elevator pitch. So what an elevator pitch does is, like he said, you need to let them know who you are, what your experience is, how long you've been interested in that subject, and why you feel like this job would be a good career choice for you. Okay, and you only have, how long is the elevator go? You got 2 minutes. We're going to give you 2 minutes. So you need to create a 2-minute conversation to explain who you are. And in your case, say who you are, how old you are. So I'm going to put all of that on there. Who you are, how old you are, what your career interest is, and where you're headed to in this building. So imagine that you're in a building, in an elevator, going for Okay, even imagine that the person in the elevator might be the um, the interviewer that you're going to see. So let's put it that way. Let's be creative with it. You're in an elevator and you have 2 minutes to convince that person in the elevator that you're an interesting person. All right, so start writing, and I'm going to put this in a Dropbox in just a second. It's called an elevator pitch. So again, imagine you're in an elevator and you only have 2 minutes to tell somebody all your finest qualities and why you would be a good candidate for a job. Hold on. Right now, you're just writing it. You can just create a Word document that you can copy and paste into the Dropbox as soon as I put it up there. Remember, you only have 2 minutes. What would you say about you in 2 minutes? How would you sell yourself? Okay, so if you refresh your page, it should be on your to-do list. And if you can't find it there, I just put a link in the chat for where you can put the assignment. Okay. All right, there you go. All right, so again, you're going to imagine that you're in an elevator. You just got in on the first floor and you're going to the 12th floor. You find that the person you're going to meet is in the elevator with you. You have 2 minutes, assuming that's the amount of time that it's going to take that elevator. That's a slow elevator, but 2 minutes is all you have in order to tell them, to impress them enough that when they get off the elevator, they're going to want to give you their job. So you have to give them important points: who you are, what you like, what you're interested in, how long you've been interested in it. No talking, no talking. You're thinking, you're writing. Okay, so I put the link in there in the chat so that it'll take you to the assignment. It should pop up on your homepage if you refresh it. Elevator pitch. It's called elevator pitch. Okay, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. So stop what you're doing and come up with a 2-minute. You should always do the current assignment and then go back and do the other one. So I don't have anything else for you to do today. I just want you to write the elevator pitch. And then once you've submitted your elevator pitch, then you can go back to trying to figure out all those other things that you owe me. Because you need to get all of that caught up before we start writing this resume. All right, so do the elevator pitch. Okay, remember too, you can even time yourself. After you've written it, time yourself. See how long it takes you to read what you wrote. So it doesn't have to be very long. 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
10 minutes to read me what I wrote.
Then it's too long. You only have 2 minutes to tell them. Let's call
Oh man, then I have to delete everything
you
I
don't have.
put because it took me an hour.
How does it take you an hour? And I just gave you the assignment. All right. So yeah, you only have 2 minutes. It's called an elevator pitch. You only have from the time you get in the elevator to the time you get off to tell this person about you. What are you going to tell them? That's going to impress them so much that they're going to say, "Come into my office. Let's talk." What are your shining personalities? Why are you the great person for this job? There's a whole TED talk on how to do an elevator pitch, but I won't show that. Or maybe, let me see if I can find it. Carter, you can't get it from the link that I sent in the chat? Okay. I'm trying to find one that's short. Okay, hold on.
To create a really good elevator pitch or an elevator speech. And remember, this is not the same thing as answering the interview question, tell me about yourself, or walk me through your resume. The difference is the context. So here, whenever you talk about giving an elevator pitch, it's usually to a total stranger who has no idea who you are, doesn't have your resume, or even looked at your LinkedIn. So you can think about this as situations when you're at networking events, or career fairs, or you literally run into somebody in an elevator and they ask you what you do. And remember, because you're talking to a total stranger and introducing yourself for the first time, they don't have your LinkedIn or your resume, so it's actually okay to repeat stuff that's already on there. But just make sure you aren't coming across as arrogant. Okay, now before you then practice your elevator pitch, there's a few key things that you need to keep in mind. First, your elevator pitch should be short, like somewhere between 30 and 60 seconds. Second, make sure you're talking and using natural language, and you're not using a whole bunch of jargon, because it's going to be easier to memorize, and it's just going to come across as more natural and less formal. Third, your elevator pitch needs to have one element in it that's really memorable. So try to throw in something funny, or something that would evoke some type of emotion from them, or something that's just out of the ordinary, that's easy to remember about you. Okay, so with those three things in mind, here are the basic parts of an elevator pitch that you need to include. Your elevator pitch should have some background information about you as a person. And of course, you need to talk about your job or what you do for work, and it should also have something really impressive that you've done at your job, so they're going to want to...
I'm gonna back that up so that you can. All right, number one, your personal life. So have something about your personal life. If you're taking notes, write this down. Now he said 30 to 60 seconds. I'm giving you 2 minutes, which is a long time because elevators don't usually take that long. But I'm giving you 2. All right. He said second, talk about your jobs and your work. And jot this down so that you have all of this in your conversation. I'm gonna be looking for this.
Your job or what you do for work, and it should also have something really impressive that you've done at your job, so they're going to want to keep talking to you and ask you questions. And remember, you don't need to give a bunch of details right away, because it's going to make your elevator pitch way too long, and it's going to encourage them to ask you follow-up questions and to continue having a conversation. You should kind of think of it like you're putting together a movie trailer of your life and your job. And as a quick example, here's my elevator pitch. Hi there, I'm Corey. Nice to meet you. So I actually grew up in Hawaii, but fun fact, I don't really like hiking or going to the beach, so I actually prefer living here in the Bay Area. And I was pretty fortunate. I was able to get a job right out of school, and I still kept my job during all these tech layoffs. And I actually started my career in management consulting, which is pretty rare for someone from my school, Santa Clara, because typically these firms only hire from Ivy League schools. So I did management consulting for a few years, but it wasn't really my thing, and so I ended up switching careers a few years ago, and now I do tech recruiting at a Mang company. I've been a recruiter now for 6 years, and I primarily focus on manager, director, and principal level roles, and right now I'm focusing mostly on hardware, like CPU design and AI ML accelerators, basically all the hardware that powers everything that's AI and hot right now. And I even convinced Google to open up a brand new office in Poughkeepsie, New York. So as you can see for my example here, my elevator pitch has all the different elements that we talked about. It was short, concise, and succinct. I talked a little bit about myself. I tried to make a few different jokes in there. I even talked about my role, my scope of work, what I focus on, and I tried to include one or two memorable and pretty impressive things. But you'll notice I didn't really give a lot of details on all the different things that I said that I did and where I came from and my different jobs. I didn't even talk about the first company that I had worked at. And I did that on purpose because I want to give these talking points or these open areas where the person that I'm networking with is going to be curious and want to ask me more questions. That way I get to stick around, build rapport, and have a deeper conversation. All right, so now you know how to create your elevator pitch and a quick short example of what it should look like. Why don't you put down in the comments what other things you need help with when it comes to networking?
All right. So again, something memorable. Information about your life. Throw in something impressive that you do. And then you're really just trying to get their attention. And then when you get to the office, then they're formulating things in their head that they want to ask you more questions about. He said, use natural language, so don't try to sound sophisticated. And then for you, you're not really doing a job summary because you're too young. But if you've had a job, if you've done any type of extracurricular activities, you can put that down. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop talking. You work on your 2-minute chat. Drop that in the Dropbox. Hopefully that was helpful. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so hopefully you've had time to formulate who you are in your mind, that you've jotted some things down, and then you're going to clean it up and give that 2-minute elevator pitch. Like I said, normally it's less than the 2 minutes because that doesn't usually take an elevator to get 2 minutes to get where it's going. And I'm giving you 2 minutes. So rehearse it, and then see if it's actually took you 2 minutes. It can't be longer than 2 minutes. Okay. So rehearse it. Whatever, if you already tried to put it in the Dropbox, hopefully you rehearsed it. Time yourself. Don't put it in the Dropbox until you time yourself. All right, if you're in a good place to stop, go ahead and do that. Again, hopefully you have at least a rough draft of your elevator pitch, and we'll make sure that we get that cleaned up and submitted by next class so that we can start on a resume. All right. And I'll see you on Wednesday. This is a short week. We have no Wednesday classes, so we're due to the next time is a regular day is Wednesday. So see you Wednesday. Have a great rest of your afternoon.